Namaskar and welcome to a new episode of Spectrum Presents on Record. On today's discussion, we have with us Dr. P.G. Ramesh sir, who is currently the Dean of School of Engineering and Technology, Kaziranga University. He is an alumnus of the prestigious National Defence Academy, Naval School of Engineering under University of Pune and IIT Bombay. Today, he will be joining us discussing about the various employment opportunities, especially for the engineering students, about the opportunities that the armed forces has to present towards the students, and about how important it is for every human being to focus on their self-growth and their soft skills in order to sustain in this market and this industry. In India, we see this trend of students every year appearing for these engineering entrances and aiming the IITs and ITs. Every other day we see these stories. But how far has India developed in terms of employment when it comes to the branch of engineering? So what do you have to say about it?
Engineering is definitely by and large the major profession. If you look at, compare it with the other professions like say medical, legal, and so many others, engineering would probably be, in terms of numbers, would be one of the largest profession. Now, in India, you asked about the engineering education in India. Yes, we have from the time IITs were established, and then we had the regional engineering colleges, which were later on named as NITs, and thereafter, we had a number of engineering colleges. We have a history of engineering education which dates back more than a century in India. And of course, IITs are much recent, in entrance. There are colleges which are more than 100 years old today. With all this, definitely, I would not, say that picture is very bleak. We have produced one of the brilliant engineers in our country, and it's a matter of pride for us that many of our Indians engineers are working in various parts of the world. And if NASA has been able to put so many spacecrafts and so much of achievements in the space, I think Indian engineers have got a big role to play behind that. We all know that, right? Yes. So coming to how is this scenario within India? There has been certainly a large brain drain that has happened, and this globalized world, it is not something which we can stop. That will continue to happen. People will go in search of opportunities and better opportunities, right? So that's going to happen. But what happens to the engineers within the country is a very important question, and that is where we are talking about this employability. Yes, it has been said in several reports that when it comes to employment, the average Indian engineering student is nowhere close to being employed. They say something like around 20% or so is what, is less than 20% is are the ones who are employable in India. And that too with a lot of training that is required from the industry side. So why are students not employable? That's a very important question. That we should bring us back to the way engineering is taught to the students in the engineering colleges, and what kind of curriculum do we have, what kind of infrastructure, what kind of faculty, and how do they get, how do you guide the students in this path? Now that is, like, as I already numbered, there are four-pronged approach I told you. The first is the curriculum. How do we design our curriculum? Are they in line with the industrial requirements? Are they keeping in pace with the changing scenario? And how is the student able to relate to that curriculum? Now, you can have something very advanced topic, but are we able to make the student able to relate to that curriculum, right? So is the student be able to absorb what is being said in the, in the class? So these are some things which has to be a lot of research and a lot of study needs to go into creating this curricula. And also it has to be dynamically updated. Something that, typically we do in our university also here. We do this exercise of every year going through this process of having a relook. We may change small parts of it. Sometimes it be a major change, but we do this review every year. So that's about so if you can have a curriculum which is designed for the industry, employability is already taken care to an extent. Okay, so then comes what kind of hands-on experience do they get? When they go to the industry, they see very advanced, complex machines, and they, if there's in a state, they are literally stunned by looking at all of them. And it takes some time for them to get used to it. And the managers in the industry, they don't have the patience. They can't wait. for this long. So now that again brings us to how are we going to train them in the universities? How are we going to do that? So that is where a lot of hands-on exposure is needed. This is what I'm saying as hands-on is beyond the laboratory classes. Laboratory classes are just to supplement what is happening in the class, in the theory class. But you need to have some kind of equipment systems on which the students can work hands-on and get that expertise. And not only that, in typically what we do in our university is that we even go beyond and we partner with a lot of industrial houses. They have their own training centers. We partner with them at many places. So that kind of partnerships are needed. There are lots of industries. We can always have some tie-up with those industrial training houses. And there are people who give industry training hands-on at different locations in the country. So we need to partner with them. We need to get them trained. Third element is who is going to deliver all this? It's the faculty, right? So the faculty needs, you need to focus and invest a lot on faculty. And that is again, something which I can say with a lot of pride that, we have faculty who are, PhDs, and more than 50% of them are, trained in the industry, or are they from the industrial background? They have their rich industrial background. And that we have seen has got a lot of impact. You can create a curriculum which is industry oriented, but if the person who is delivering is not having that background, it's again becomes a bookish knowledge, right? So this one book to another book, right? But then we want people to teach from their experience. Now that is possible only if they have the background, one, and second is if they are also trained continuously on what is happening in the industry, because it's changing so rapidly. Believe me, the change we get sometimes, I'm from the industrial background, but then I get sometimes, shocked by the way things are changing so rapidly. And, final word is on this part, on this question that you asked me, how to improve the employability is, you see, there are a lot of options available today, and students have plenty of options. And they have so many people to tell them do this, do that, and all that. But who gives them the right direction? Whose direction can be trusted upon? Now that's a question. And students themselves, many of them we hear sometimes, they come to the final year and they still say that they're still wondering and they're still trying to figure out what is that they want to do in life. That is, I would say this 4 years, if the students do not make use of for this purpose, then that becomes a waste. So we have introduced, something called a mentorship program. I think mentorship is there everywhere. It's mandated by ASCT also. Mentorship is required to be done. But how do we do that? That's very important, right? So, so that's something which is maybe we can have another long discussion on how this mentorship goes on. But that's, to put it short, I would say it is there is a need to understand the student and the student to have a trust in the mentor, and then there is a growth which happens, in the student in those 4 years period. And that is something which is going to put all these things, the curriculum, the faculty, the infrastructure, the training, everything will be put in perspective to the student. Now student gets better clarity. Where is he headed? Does he want to go for manufacturing? Does he want to go for a job? Want to go for higher studies? And then or wants to become an entrepreneur? So everything is possible to be, one can figure out all these things, provided there is a proper guidance, mentorship, which is based on trust and a relationship. That is what is needed. Mentorship is not that you come and give a lecture one day and then talk about career opportunities. That's not mentorship. It's a question of building trust and relationship. Yeah. So these things, when you approach together, I think employability will get taken care for sure. And we have seen that happening.
I think that was a lovely answer covering all the aspects that need to be taken care of while talking about the word employment. So you have talked about the hands-on experience. So do you at times feel that the research tradition in Assam or in India is lacking rather than the other countries or developed countries? If we take a comparative, view towards it, the research tradition, students are doing assignments. Yes, they are taking up subjects like biochemistry, biotechnology. Are they only getting done in those labs using those small specific stuffs and in the assignments and not going beyond that? Do you also feel that?
That is true, partly true. What you're saying is partly true. But if you look at the overall research scenario in the country, you will be surprised. We are one of the top few, in terms of publications. No, I think we are, I think fourth or fifth, I don't remember offhand, but we are somewhere in the top. We are along with USA, Germany, and countries like that. In fact, Germany is also not, ahead of us. They are behind in terms of number of publications. Probably USA, China, and India, they're all in the same league. Now, but then there is a paradox here. Okay, so the number of publications, that means that people do research, they write papers, they publish them, and it is there. Numbers are there to speak. But then, are they really having any impact? That's a question. You can write a paper of 10 pages, some lot of mathematical equations and so many things, but do they have an impact? How do we find out whether there's an impact or not? Okay, you look at the patents, number of patents being, registered. The patents means that, you make something new and then you are able to register that as your own invention or discovery and all that. So if you look at that, in patents, we are figuring very low. So what does that mean? That our research is not really impactful. Okay, so why are we not making an impactful research? Again, the 4 points which I said initially, that kind of guidance, even for researchers, you need this kind of guidance is needed, where can we look at, more impact-oriented research? So for which we can only do that if there is more and more collaboration with the industry. So this gap between academia and industry should go. If you look at any advanced countries, China, USA, Germany, and very countries which are technologically advanced, the secret behind this technological advancement is the collaboration between academia and industry. There is a huge power behind academia. There is a huge power behind industry. But if these people are, divergent, then that's not going to really help. If these two can come together, I think nothing will stop India in terms of research. But as of now, as you rightly said, we are lacking. I mean, we won't say that we are in a happy situation. Yeah.
So I think I'll totally agree to what you said. And moving away a bit from science, technology, and other things, you yourself were a gentleman cadet of the National Defense Academy. So, sir, I'd really love to know from you what the process was and what kind of doors can NDA open up for students?
See, NDA, I'm certainly, I can, the moment you mention NDA, I think, it gives me a great feel. It takes me back to those old days of, how I got into it and then, what opportunities gave me. Yes, certainly. See, one, as far as the opportunity is concerned, the armed forces offer a brilliant professional, opportunity. Variety, not only the different the services that we have, Army, Navy, and Air Force, and also within them, you have different kinds of, technical, non-technical, operational, so many opportunities are there within that. And it's one of the, professional to the core, right? So you can't make mistakes in war, right? So there's no opportunity, there's no room for mistakes in war. So if one has to have zero mistakes, you can imagine the kind of professionalism that needs to be developed. So it's absolutely professional force. So that if somebody wants, a life where lead a professional career, a career with excitement, adventure, and camaraderie. We don't say we work in the army. We say we are in the army. So there's a difference. Right, so we are in the army, so that's life. So, but it doesn't. You don't say like that. You don't say I am in Infosys. You don't say that. You say you work for Infosys, right? But you here, like you say, I am in the Navy or I am in the army. So you are in it. I was fortunate to have a schooling where I had all this preparations that are needed for NDA happened during my schooling days. So I didn't have to prepare. But then that may not be the case with all. The bottom line, I would say, is that there are two parts to this NDA. One is, you need to write a written exam for which you certainly need to prepare. And other is the Services Selection Board, you must have heard of the SSB, for which strictly speaking, there is no need for any preparation because you just have to go as you are, right? So that's how it is because they would know whether you fit in or not. And I always tell my students also here that if you make it in SSB, it's good. If you don't make it, even that is fine, right? So that's how it is because they just look for a certain fit. It's not that if somebody doesn't get selected to NDA is something he has lost something or something like that. Nothing of that kind. It is just that there is a certain fit they want. They're trying to see whether you will fit into it. If you don't, then they just, they don't consider the person. So that's about it. So as far as getting selected, the secret is that, of course, you prepare well for the written exam and see that you score as much as possible, because finally it's the merit list which will make a difference. So you need to score as much as possible. But when it comes to the interview, just be yourself. But at the same time, fortunately or unfortunately, whether we like it or not, all these interviews happen in English. So the English communication has to be good, because if you do not communicate, the other person sitting in front does not know what you have in mind. What are you made of, right? So what are you made of will only be revealed when you speak something, right? So you need to speak. So communication is very important. I think if communication is fine, and you are generally a person who plays around and who is, with friends, mix around with friends and all that, you're a slightly an outgoing social kind of person, not too much of an introvert. Otherwise, we have a lot of introverts in India, so there's no problem with introverts, but it should not be too much. So as long as you have this, you will make it. There's no problem. You should give it a try. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So I have many friends, who have talked about at least trying SSB once in your life, at least for an experience. So what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, it's certainly it's an experience, because you see, there is no interview which happen, or no session, I won't say interview is of course one part, but this kind of whole process, happens for 5 days. I don't know if there is any other profession, any career where you are tested for 5 days, right? And 5 different ways, that's psychological, then your aptitude abilities, outdoor, your leadership quality, your team building, team playing quality, and then your speaking abilities, your logical thinking. So all these things are brought into this one, and you are being evaluated for all of them. So I think it's a great experience. Even one should just go for it. If you get a chance, you should go for it. And if somebody is serious, they should try. And I know of people who have tried 6-7 times in SSBs, and they have finally made it, right? So I think if you value this profession, just don't give up. Just continue trying, and it will make it. So that should be the motto. And as far as going through SSB, it's fun. Just try it once at least. Yeah.
All right, sir. So we have talked about all of this stuff, and some way or the other, a point that has arisen is about the soft skills a human being needs in his or her life. So how does Kaziranga University takes care that even if the student is, he might be going to the engineering course, he could be doing other courses that are available in the university. How is he doing better as a human being? So how does Kaziranga University takes care about that particular aspect?
Yeah, see, the students are, I would say, they're really very nice, boys and girls who come here. They are quite, I would say they are angels in as far as persons or individuals are concerned, right? I have nothing to, I don't think I want to make anything out of them. They are already good, right? But as I said, soft skills, which you rightly said, it's very important for moving ahead, whether it is in technology domain or in the leadership, or maybe even you talked about armed forces. These soft skills, and in that context, I even mentioned to you that you should be able to communicate, right? So there are certain skills. Some of them directly related with jobs, like say your aptitude and your ability to crack exams, and this is one lot of skills. The other is how do you carry yourself as a person, right? So one-to-one with people who are more knowledgeable than you, senior to you, your peers, those who are younger to you, your subordinates, your team. How do you carry yourself? That's very important, right? So, and that is what I think we refer to as soft skills, and in which communication plays a very important role. And as I said, students have it all. Only thing is they miss is the communication skill, and it's not only true with this university or this place. It's across the country. In most, even in IITs, there are students who have this problem in communication, and that really brings them down. They have scored very high marks in JEE, and they've got good branch, and doing very well. But then communication is a challenge. So we have taken a couple of initiatives. We already do have English teaching for our engineering students. Though people think, why should English be taught in an engineering program? But then you see, what is engineering what use of is engineering if the person cannot use that, right? So to be able to use it, you need to be able to have a language in which it is being taught and it will be used. So we do have, there are two parts to how we deal with this. One is in the curriculum. There are, 4 to 5, 4 papers we have on English communication, business communication, professional skills 1 and 2. So we have 4 papers where they are actually taught on various skills related to communication, written, spoken communication. That happens in the classroom. Now, what we have done very recently is that we have collected some volunteers. These volunteers are not only teachers; they are also from the maintenance department, also from the administration, and they are one. One thing common with all of them is that they are all good at speaking English, right? So they have all come together to mentor these students. So we have a lot, some students allotted to each one of them. They do this, entire mentoring which happens outside of the class, and they can do anything. They can have music, they can have a play, they can have crack jokes, they can do anything they want in that group, either virtually or real, in physical presence, whichever way. I think once this lockdown and all is over, then we will be doing more of it in physical presence. The only condition is that all these activities should happen in English. That's the only condition, right? So you see, very naturally, students will get attracted to this. Very recently, we conducted a training program to the faculty by Kotak Education Foundation from the Kotak Bank Group. I know this is the CSR Foundation of Kotak, and they have experience of training more than 15,000 students in the suburbs of Mumbai from the vernacular medium students. And I have seen the students, boys and girls, speak English so well. They have all studied only in vernacular medium schools. So what it has been, we have come to the firm belief that this is doable, and we will do it. That's what is the motto behind what we have started now, and I'm sure this will work because it's worked. It's not, of course, I don't claim that this is the first time that we are doing, but it has worked. The model is slightly different. It's more of a voluntary model, but it is. So that's the way that we can kind of develop these soft skills. So, and then of course the other things like how to conduct yourself in an interview, and what are the business etiquettes that you're supposed to follow, and all these things are ingrained as we go along, and that is both part of this English communication skills as well as the mentorship program. So I think together they will carry all these things along when they leave this place.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your time and these amazing answers. We really hope that all these students who have been giving us for all these time, all these months, they will be benefited. And I really love the fact that the importance of communication skills of being developed as a human being was talked about in this session. And that will surely help us lead a better life, even in academics as well as a human being. Thank you so much for being with us here, sir.
Thank you so much for this opportunity once again, and it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.